Hey folks. So this is just like a tutorial video on how to make comments on the PDFs that you're reading for homework, the first two articles. I do explain it a little bit in the what you're going to be looking at today, where I introduce the assignment, but I still had some questions when I was introducing a similar assignment in another class, so I thought maybe that means I need to like do a bit better job explaining how to add the comments. So I just want to walk you through what that looks like. So this is a very short video. So there are two articles that you're reading for homework. And you're actually going to add the comments, you're going to click on the article itself. So we'll just do the Disability Studies Quarterly article. I want to apologize in advance too if there's some whining happening. My dog just recently got spayed, and I have to separate her from my other dog, and they're like super best buds, and so they're like whining right now, and it's like it's annoying. It can like peel paint. So if one of them starts whining, from the bottom of my heart, I'm sorry. All right, so this is the first article, and you'll see that I have already put my comments in here, right? As I told you, I'm gonna like read these with you. So anyway, here's how you would add a comment. So like maybe like you found some sort of thing that you're like, hey, like this is really gorgeous. So for instance, maybe you wanted to talk about this part that's like crip time is grief time, and maybe you know, you wanted to like comment on this because you're like, wow, this is really powerful, and I'm going to talk about like how it is. So what you do is you take your cursor and you just highlight the thing you want to comment on, and you'll see as you do that on the right hand side a little plus sign will materialize when you do that, and you're just going to add a comment there. So you're going to click on that and you're going to add your comment, right? So that's how you would do it. And then once you add in the comments that you want to add to the document, you only have to add one comment yourself and then reply to two, but you can add more than that. It's just like a minimum sort of thing. No judgment if you just want to do one. I get it. So once you do that, what I would recommend is to actually close out of the document like this, like so, and then close back or come back in. And the reason why I say that is because like what I would just do is like read one article and then read the other. And then probably by the time you're reading your second article, there will be comments on the first one, right? Because basically what you're going to have to do to get those comments to load back in is you're going to have to like close out the document and come back in. And then you're going to see your comments and your peers' comments. So when there's a comment that you want to respond to, you're like, oh, heck yeah, that's an awesome comment. You would just click on that comment that you want to respond to, and then you would type in your response right here like this. And remember that you only have to respond to two people's comments, right? If you want to too, like if there's a typo or something, you can obviously go in there and edit it, or in my case right now, I'm just going to delete this comment because it's not an actual comment. So that's how you would do that. Also, try not to resolve your peers' comments because like it'll delete them. So don't do that. But yeah, so that's how you're going to do it. You're just going to do it for this article and then the other one too on hauntology. And the thing that I want to say is that part of what I'm trying to get at here is to like, one, you're not feeling lonely because you're reading this with all your peers, and it's going to be a lot less like intimidating. But we're also sort of like pre-gaming like the conversations that we're having around the article like in the comments, which is really neat because then once we get into class, we can do like more immersive work with like, listening to the podcast and responding to that together. And then eventually we'll fold back in discussions of the article, but you're basically having a pre-gaming discussion of that article during homework. And then once we get to like the flash analysis posts, then you're going to start seeing people weave in very specific moments from whatever article whatever article spoke to them the most into a very, an analysis of a very particular part of the podcast we're listening to. But it's just going to be a really helpful exercise because you're basically going to be able to practice not only collaboratively reading and responding to articles together, which I think is going to be so, so helpful in terms of like creating meaning around the articles, but it's also going to create a situation where it takes off a lot of pressure during class so we can like one really enjoy the podcast, because it's really hard to, most of the time you have to sort of like get through something and just kind of like be in the moment and just sort of experience it as just a regular old audience member. And that's what we're doing in the Hot Takes Forum. And then, you know, collect bits of information that help us enjoy it better, like we're going to be doing in the Cache Forum, right? And so that kind of takes a lot of pressure off to just really be able to experience it, so that when we go into the flash analysis posts, that form that happens at the end of every unit, then we start folding in the conversation that we began, you know, during homework, and folding it back in our flash analyses posts. Now, some of you might want to, you know, make connections in the Hot Takes channel. Be like, oh, hey, that reminded me of that thing we just read. That's perfect. You can totally do that there. And I think it would probably end up being like really helpful for some of your peers, just because they'll be like, oh yeah, snap, you're right. Like it totally does. So you can do that in there as well, but you can also just like respond to just like whatever happens to be happening in the podcast during that episode. Okay, so this week is really just about me, you know, introducing those things, and then our work begins next week on Tuesday. Okay, so this is exciting, and this is going to be, I think, a really good workflow for us. And if you have any questions, please just let me know. Okay, all right, take care. Let's have a good class.